My friends, the Lord is with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus said further, "The reign of God is like this. A sower scatters seeds on the ground and then goes to bed at night and gets up day after day. Through it all, the seed sprouts and grows without the sower knowing how it happens. The soil produces a crop by itself. First the blade, then the ear, and finally the ripe wheat in the ear. When the crop is ready, the sower wields the sickle, for the time is ripe for harvest." Jesus went on to say, "What comparison will we use for the reign of God? What image will help to present it? It is like a mustard seed that people plant in the soil. It is the smallest of all the earth's seeds. Yet once it is sown, it springs up to become the largest of shrubs, with branches big enough for the birds of the sky to build the nests inside in its shade." Using many parables like these, Jesus spoke the message to them as much as they could understand. Everything was spoken in parables, but Jesus explained everything to the disciples later when we were alone. My friends, the gospel of the Lord. So in today's readings, we hear about growth, about God tending to the flock, affording growth and fruitfulness. And the growth in turn affords beauty and strength and gives shelter to others, making the world a better environment for everyone and for the glory of God. As I start this meandering through these readings, I'm thinking about the things that I saw last week, and I came to recall a question that I had as I began my theological adventures many years ago. I had been sitting and watching. You've heard me talk about the little boy that we lost with the brain tumor, Matthew. I had been sitting watching this boy for months, lose his ability to walk and lose his sight and lose his ability to feel well. But he would sit in his wheelchair at the table every night and build Lego stuff. And he told me, "Colleen, I'm the best freestyler that ever lived." And I didn't doubt him. So he built all these things, even though he would ask his brother, "Is this green or blue?" And then he would build, and he built beautiful things. So a few months later, after he had died, 9/11 happened. And I couldn't help but see the difference between someone who was driven to create with the last moments of his life, and then some guys who were driven to destroy at such a horrible, horrible level. And so that really, those two things in opposition, the creating and the destroying, really led me down Summit Avenue to St. Thomas, where I asked this question in a seminar. I said, in the depth of human emotion and experience, are we reduced or relegated to only expressing ourselves through the arts? Or are we elevated to expressing ourselves through the arts? And I think I've found the answer to that question about being elevated to express ourselves when we can't find words. Because that's what I experienced, and I think most of us did after 9/11. We saw a lot of music and a lot of photography and poetry, and we really had a hard time speaking. And so we turned to music and art. And so back again to creation. So in a sense, we are all co-creators when we make something. It takes courage and it takes a great deal of faith to build and to create. Whether it was the little guy with his Legos making stuff until 10 o'clock at night, no matter what. Or whether we're referring to, and I humbly say this here, a garden, because all of you are way better gardeners than me. Whether you create a garden, or a Lego house, or a regular house, or a relationship, or a family, or a church, or a community, creating takes guts and lots of work. And I've had the privilege of watching people and participating in this creation. Some people against very difficult odds. People who have had physical limitations or pain, working to create beauty in art and in buildings, in other crafts, and in social settings. The drive and the desire to create is in our nature. And some people are able to defy the odds against them in doing so. But it is a real different story about destroying things. On Monday, most of my friends, I went to New York with 9 other friends, and the 9 of them went to tour the harbor and to the Statue of Liberty. And I got my ticket, and I got in line, and then I said, not going. And they said, why are you not going? Because I wanted to go to the 9/11 memorial, and I would only have time to do one. So I ditched my friends, sold my ticket, and I bought it for 14 and I sold it for 15, so it was okay. Just saying, that senior deal, you know. So I went there, and I haven't been there since very early in 2002 when it was still a smoldering hole. So I visited the memorial of the Trade Center. And that place, I sat there for a couple hours. That place holds stories of incredible evil and hatred. The Twin Towers were a target for people who were filled with hate for us, for our nation. And they used their intellect and their resources to plot and scheme against us and committed one of the most horrible crimes of our time. But the ground in Lower Manhattan remains. It has grown, and they have rebuilt, and the names and the stories of those people who were lost are lifted up in love and remembrance. Now, I'd seen pictures of the place, but being there is a whole different story. There were, every few names, there were roses sticking up, and somebody told me that if there's a birthday or a special thing, that people will put a rose in the name. So I just sat and looked at that memorial for a really long time. And this quote came to mind. Since I did go down Summit Avenue and I did stay at St. Thomas in the seminary for a while, I learned some great things from some great people. And one of my favorite quotes is from a guy by the name of Tertullian. And this is what he said: "The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church." The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. In this statement, the truth is born that even when someone tries to destroy us or destroy something, the beauty of the one created is victorious over the one who attempts to destroy. The beauty remains. So creating, imagining, sustaining, nurturing are things that our Creator allows us to do. In a way, being co-creators. We're not here to destroy, not to destroy art, nor people, nor the environment, nor families. We are here to create and love one another. We are called by Jesus Christ to follow the new commandment, to love one another. And this is really as true as I can be. It is my most fervent desire to live in this way. I work on this every day. And every day I'm reminded that tomorrow I can do better, and I can love better, and I can love more. And that today maybe I haven't quite loved enough. With that said, in honor and in memory of all those who have gone before and who have created before, I'm going to try to find the courage to share these words of a Nobel laureate named Elie Wiesel. And it's really hard. I read these words. I haven't known them not Elie, but the words. I haven't known these words for a really long time. But when I read them, they disturbed me. And I remain disturbed because I kind of like to go with the flow, really, and not rock the boat most of the time, and just be kind of pally and just doing my thing. But these words changed me, and this is what Elie Wiesel said. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Those are words from someone who knows about both torment and oppression. He knows about speaking up. It's not always easy to speak up. But I truly believe there are some situations where neutrality doesn't serve us, or silence doesn't serve us. And I do believe that we must continue to be co-creators, to build and to create gardens and communities and structures and stuff, families and churches and societies. We are called to love one another and to grow in our humanity and in our goodness. We are called to be the unity that is illustrated in the love of the Trinity. We talked about that a few weeks ago. The dynamic, flowing love of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Dynamically moving about. That is the image that we're called to be. Loving one another. We are called to be God's manifestation of goodness to one another. Sometimes that can be hard, can be controversial, and I can tell you that it makes me feel uneasy at times. And those are the times that I thank God, again, for going down Summit Avenue and for reading about history and leadership of those who have gone before us. Those who can be helpful, like Elie Wiesel, and those who have spoken courageously due to their own experience. They can guide us to speak when it would be easier to lay low. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented.